Greetings, Earthlings.
Hey, we're here. It's so exciting. We are doing one of our live streams for Hidden Gems this week because we had such a busy week. This week for me was jam-packed. So I thought this would be a fun time to give Ryan 5 movies to watch and see what he thought of them. And so, Ryan, thank you so much for taking on the challenge.
Well, thank you. It reminds me that you have pretty good taste.
Aww.
And before we jump in, I should let everybody know that I'm still suffering from allergies for the second time this year. So that's why I sound the way that I sound. Like this week was just so miserable because that's why I haven't been able to do that many videos this week, because I would just come home and mean to do them, but I'd just be like,
yeah.
Nope. It's like the spirit is willing, but the body is like, I don't think so, Tim.
It's just the word. Allergies, it sucks so much because it's like the nicest times of the year, where you want to be outside, you want to be, and you feel rotten.
Yeah. I actually took a personal day from work today, and today, for like the first time in like 3 years, was like the first day where I just did nothing. I just slept and I vegged and I zoned myself out, and it was actually rather nice. So
I'm glad.
I am planning on seeing Reminiscence and uploading my first reaction to Arietti. So there will be videos coming to the channel, but just forgive me if they're a little slow. For obvious reasons.
No forgiveness required. So we do have the chat room open. If anybody wants to listen, if you have questions for us, you want us to answer, things you want us to talk about, we'll do that. And there's also the super chat if anyone's feeling so inclined. That would be great. All right. I tried in these recommendations to give a variety, to not just do like all rom-coms or something like that, to have a variety. Would you say I succeeded?
Boy, you sure were successful there. Like you went from like hardcore 90s action to like Hallmark Christmas to like super indie, almost documentary-esque to a straight up documentary. Mm-hmm. So you covered the whole 9.
All right, good. That's what I like to hear. Well, I guess, should we just start with the first one on my list, or do you have any preference?
Fire away. I'm ready.
Okay. All right. Well, let's talk about Speed, because I was really surprised when you said you hadn't seen this, because it just seemed like so in your pocket. It seemed like something that you would really, really like. And so like, I knew
mom had seen this. My mom had seen this, and she doesn't watch really any movies. Like she watches, like she's seen Jaws and Alien, rom-coms, and that's about it.
Well, I guess if you're only going to see two movies, those aren't too bad ones of the ones to pick.
Yeah, that's fair.
Yeah. I mean, I do really like Jaws and Alien. It's Alien or Aliens that she's
the first one.
The first one, yeah. The first one's pretty scary. Yeah. Well, all right. Well, so you saw Speed. What were your thoughts?
I really loved it. When I was excuse me, about half an hour into this, I was like, this is like Die Hard. And then I looked it up, and this was directed by Jan de Bont, who edited Die Hard. So there you go. Yeah. But this was a really fun movie. Keanu, I love this premise of, if you're on this bus with these people, this bus cannot go under 50 miles an hour, and if it does, so I was on pins and needles throughout, and it's just a question of A, who would do this, and B, why would this person do this? And I love that. I love the spirit of it. Keanu Reeves is really good in this. I don't get why people rag on Keanu as an actor. I mean, I can get it for certain performances. Dracula, Bram Stoker's Dracula comes to mind. But when he's in a movie like this, or John Wick, or The Matrix, he's really good. The chemistry between him and Sandra is awesome. I love how they have to think on their feet whenever they've got to deal with this bomb, because it's not like just in the quarter panel or on the steering wheel. It's literally under a panel near the front of the floor, and you got to look down and you see that it's like under the moving vehicle. It's about as precarious a situation as you can get. And I gotta say, Dennis Hopper as the villain here needs to be talked about more in like great action movie villains, because he has a he has a legitimate beef as to why he does the things that he does. That doesn't make them right, but he feels slighted. I mean, he was a part of the bomb squad. Like, that's got to be one of the most difficult jobs on the planet. And so to just give him a gold watch and be like, Bob's your uncle, is like, I can see why he would be mad at that. Doesn't give him credence to do the things that he does, but he's a great villain in that we can kind of understand where he's coming from.
Yeah. No, you want to at least understand the motivations a little bit behind your villains and have some kind of understanding of why they're doing what they're doing.
Yeah. Cameron from Ferris Bueller's Day Off is in this, Alan Ruck. And when I saw him, I'm like, oh, hey, that's Cameron. It's like between this and the Ferrari, it's like with him and vehicles, it just never works. But there's a lot of really stunning sequences, like the bus jump over the completed bridge, which would totally not happen in real life, but it's still great nonetheless. And Keanu's like on that little go-kart thing, like where you're on your back and you're like, it has wheels and you're like going like that and stuff to the bomb. That was like white knuckle stuff right there. This was a lot of fun.
Yeah, and I think Sandra Bullock is really key in this because she's just so great at playing that empathetic every woman kind of role. And so her kind of energy, I think, really works.
Yeah, it really does.
And they have good chemistry. I mean, they were in the lake house later on, and not as good a chemistry, not as good. But this they have really fun chemistry, and they say this is Die Hard on a bus, there's Die Hard on a plane, Die Hard on a whatever. But I think that it's a formula that works. It's simple. It doesn't become too convoluted. It's just a very simple, this is the thing, this is what you have to solve, and how are you going to do it? And I think that a lot of times those movies are the most effective. It's when they, have all this sort of convoluted missions and, stuff like that they start to lose their effectiveness a little bit.
It doesn't waste any time. It gives you enough story to keep you invested, and then it's all action for the 2 hours, and it works. It really does.
And as far as Keanu Reeves, I think that he knows his lane really well. I don't think that he's necessarily like the best actor as far as emoting and like things like that, but I think he knows what he's good at, and he's very good at picking projects. I mean, that can't be denied. I mean, he has had one successful kind of franchise after another. He's managed to do comedy in like Bill and Ted's and things like that, do that well, but then he also does the action like in John Wick and the Matrix and movies like that. And he's only, I think, a couple times tried to do like something like The Lake House or I love the movie Walk in the Clouds, but I don't think that I think he's kind of wooden in it. I don't think he's great, but I still like the movie overall because I just really like the movie. But I think that not everybody can do that. Not everybody sort of knows their lane and knows how to pick projects. And I think he's never really tried to play the Oscar game to his advantage. Sort of so like somebody like Will Smith is, tried to do over and over again. And he's had so many good films, whether it's Point Break or there's there's so many good ones. So yeah, it's an interesting thing.
Not to mention Keanu's one of the legit nicest people on the planet. Like if you look up anything about his charity work or the things that he does for the less fortunate, like you will see a little bit of your faith in humanity restored.
That's what I've heard, and people seem to like working with him. So, that's good. And are you hearing like echo at all with me?
No.
On my mic? Okay, good. And there's just sounds like a little echo. But anyway, cool. What would you give Speed if you were saying 1 to 10? What would you give it?
I'd give it a 9. I had a blast with this.
Yeah. It's really good. And it's almost 2 hours, but it just clips along really well. It doesn't feel long. So good. I'm glad you liked it. I knew you would. I was really confident. Okay. Next, I assigned Song of the Sea, which is one of my favorite animated films. It made my top 10. When I saw the movie, I saw it about a month after my cousin had died, and her little boy spoke at her funeral, and when I saw Ben talking about losing his mother and dealing with that, I really connected with that experience, and it just reminded me of my cousin's little boy, and so I was just bawling when I left the theater. And when I did my review on YouTube, I started to cry talking about it, and I somehow, I'm not sure exactly how they got it in at Cartoon Saloon, but they saw my review, and I guess they kind of shared it all around the studio, and that's how I ended up interviewing Tom Moore, because we kind of connected over my review of the movie, and so that was an amazing experience, and I just love the movie. I love the animation. It's so beautiful. I love the music. I love the story. I love the characters. I think it's great. But after all of that, now what did you think?
Well, where do I go?
That's an introduction.
First of all, I love the movie. I wasn't ready for how much I was going to love it. Like, I knew you loved it, and I know you have good taste, so I was going in, and I was prepared, but yet again, I was not. The animation in this movie is so beautiful. Like, I said in my review on my Twitter that Tom Moore needs to be involved in more stuff. Maybe it's a prerogative that he does just indie stuff, but like Pixar or DreamWorks or somebody needs to hire this guy, even as just like a one-off, because he brings such a unique animated take to this whole thing. And I love the landscape of everything. I love the sea. I love how the town the city has such like life, and it feels lived in. The first like 20 minutes was really rough, not because of a lack of quality, but because I felt really bad for Circe, and how everyone was just like, "Oh, Circe, you can't talk." It's like what am I missing here? And I had the feeling that it was these characters dealing with the excuse me, with the grief of losing their mother in their own way, but still, it's pretty hard to watch. There's some pretty hard moments, especially with the grandmother. And I love both of my grandmothers. They're still with me. God bless it. And they're just amazing. I can't imagine my grandmother's treating me like that. Like, she is just like you are going to be a proper lady, and I'm like, seriously, what meeting did I miss where it was like just pile onto this little girl? It's just like
Well,
it just felt so sad.
yeah, it is sad. It's very sad, and I think that Ben blames her for losing his mother, and I think the father even does a little bit, and I and I think that really the father's probably not in a space where he can care for these children, and so I think that's why the grandma does what she does, but she definitely like should at least try to be a little more empathetic, try to listen a little bit more than she does.
Yeah, like at least try to help. Like
Yeah.
the
I
dad
think
is voiced by the dad was voiced by Brandon Gleeson, which great choice there. But I mean, you could tell he was there, but he was still processing all these years later. So like you could have at least tried to help the man.
Yeah, he definitely needs help. And I think because none of them really got to say goodbye to her, she just was gone. And that was very difficult. And I think by the end of the movie, they really get that closure that they need, which is, beautiful. And that's part of what makes you cry is when Ben finally gets to say goodbye to his mom. Oh, whew.
Yeah. And I love how this movie is so like tied up with its lore. Like I love the songs. I love the design of the owl witches and the seals. I'll never look at owls and seals the same way ever again.
Well, and the owl witch, because her motivations are so pure, like she's trying to help her son, but in so doing, she's taking good from the world and bottling it up in these jars. And when she sort of realizes what she's done, I think that's very moving too. That's a moving arc. And I like the way that this movie has lore and it has fantastical elements without feeling the need to explain them that much. You just enjoy the ride. Whereas some fantasy, it really loses me because it's just so boring.
Why am I thinking of Warcraft right now?
Oh my gosh, kill me now. Yeah, and I don't know. I just think it works so much better. It reminds me a lot of Secret of Nim. I don't know if you've ever seen that, but
I actually haven't. I've seen clips, but I haven't seen the whole thing.
Well,
I hear
your next 5. But yeah, no, just in the way that it kind of handles lore and has really sort of pure characters and beautiful animation, they kind of remind me of each other. But I'm glad you liked it. I just think it's such a beautiful film. I mean, I love Wolfwalkers as well, and I love Secret of Kells. His trilogy is so strong. I really was hoping that maybe a miracle would happen and they would win last year over Soul because I think they deserved it. I think it was a better movie and Wolfwalkers, and I just think he deserved it for those 3 movies were so strong, and he's just an incredible artist. The whole team there, and they work with the same people doing the music, Bruno Calles, and the just beautiful animation.
Yeah, between this and Aardman, the UK is silently pumping out some great animation.
Yeah, no question. That's for sure. Well, so what would you give this one out of 10?
I'm feeling super generous. I'm going to give this a 9.5.
Oh, all right. Very good. Okay. Very good. All right. Well, the next one I gave you was a little bit of a wild card, but I was curious for your take on it. It's called Beast of the Southern Wild, and this actually got nominated for an Academy Award. It was a big indie kind of favorite darling the year it came out, 2012, and by director Ben Zeitlin. And it's a very unique film and very beautiful film. What did you think of it?
Yeah, that's what I'll say. It is very unique. It almost felt like a documentary, but without
With the
you include
fantastical elements.
the whole creature thing. I can't remember the name of it off the top of my head.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, I really did. I love the world of like the bathtub and
Yeah.
how lived in it feels. Like I want to say it does it ever say that it takes place in New Orleans or like somewhere in Louisiana, or does it ever say?
Yeah, it's the well, I think that's what the neighborhood is known as, the bathtub in Louisiana, and it's in the bayou there. And this girl, Wink, that uh, the they well, it's, I don't know, Wink's the dad, and then the girl's name is Hush Puppy,
Yeah,
and uh, their bond. He's kind of a beast. He's he's
yeah,
not the best.
he's hard work. I was not a big fan of him.
But I don't know, she was just such a like her love for him was so beautiful and pure. And then sort of her journey, and it's just one of those movies that like is just so beautiful. You just kind of go for the ride. And it's it's not like I don't love it for the plot. It's more the imagery and the music I think are really wonderful. I mean, it's a fine plot, but it doesn't have a ton of plot.
Yeah, she gave that man more love than he quite frankly deserved.
Yeah, and she was nominated for Best Actress for her role, Quincy Wallace.
Yeah, she had some pretty she had some hard lines, and there were some moments where I was like, oh, that stung a little,
Mhm.
because after a pretty big blow up with her dad, like she's like, I'm going to wait for you to die, and then I'm going to eat birthday cake on top of your grave. And I'm like, oh, that seems harsh.
Yeah. What did you think about the creatures, the RX, I think they're called, the that appear? And did you like that, or was it too much?
uh, I think I could have gone either way. I mean, the movie is called Beasts of the Southern Wild, so I guess it kind of telegraphed that. But and one of the through lines of the movie is about how in the caveman days there were these creatures who ate humans, and now that the ice caps are melting, they will return again. So they are a through line of the plot. So if they have a reason to be there, and they do, then I'm usually forgiving of it.
Yeah, and it's kind of it's about how you survive, but you survive well, like you survive with power. And they talk about how the cavemen survived and with the animals and how everything is kind of unraveling all around them. And she refuses to go to the hospital, and her father uh, refuses. Her father refuses to go to the hospital, and they have that argument there. And that they don't want help, that they're like a very proud people is the idea, I think.
Yeah, Hush Puppy's one tough little girl.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And then at the end, when she's dancing with the prostitutes, and I think you get an idea that she's going to be okay, that she's going to be taken care of. It's all going to work out. I don't know. I like that ending.
Yeah. And I love the shot in the beginning with the title screen, The Beast of the Southern Wild, where it explains the whole world, and then they're like, we have holidays like we have this many holidays a year, and it's this big celebration, and then it focuses on Hush Puppy with these sparklers, and she's running towards the camera, and it's like, boom, Beast of the Southern Wild, and that's an excellent shot.
Yeah. It's such a beautiful film, and I think it's one of those artistic films that, yes, it is pretentious, but I think it works. And I think a big thing is that it's only 93 minutes, because a lot of times movies like this sort of outstay their welcome, and you just get kind of tired of it. But this you eclipse along, I think, actually well enough that you don't mind participating in this art.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, good. That one was a little bit more of a risk. I'm glad that you enjoyed it. What would you give it 1 to 10?
I'm going to give it an 8. I thought it was a tad almost too weird, but there was enough good storytelling to keep me interested.
Yeah, good. I'm glad. All right. Well, this is our hard left, like we say. So next is the holiday film that I recommended, and this is Christmas Perfection. And this was on Lifetime, actually, in 2019, I think, or 2018. I can't remember. But anyway, I loved this movie. I thought it was so funny. And so I'm very curious to see what you thought of it.
I really liked it.
Yes.
I think it kind of reminded me a lot of Groundhog Day, especially the whole it's the same day every day and everything turns out perfectly, because the plot is that this woman who longs for like the perfect Christmas creates this Christmas village in her home, and one day she wakes up in the middle of it and she has the perfect Christmas with her parents who were divorced but not divorced anymore, with waffles and hot cocoa, and with this very dreamy boy. They go on not a sleigh ride, but like a horse and buggy ride.
Yeah.
They sing carols, and they all cap off the evening with him giving her a gift of a necklace. But that happens over and over and over and over and over again.
Yeah.
And I love the theme of you can try your hardest, but Christmas will never be perfect. It's all what you put into it. I like that. I like the spirit of that.
Yes. So the other theme behind the movie is that the thing I like that gives this a little bit more depth than your typical silly comedy is that she wants to have the perfect Christmas, right? She starts out, everything goes wrong, people are fighting, her parents are fighting, and nothing's going right. And so she wants everybody in her life to behave a particular way, and she's frustrated when they don't. So here in this Christmas village, this Irish Christmas village, which she had because her mother is from Ireland, and her mother would tell all these stories, and her mom says, "Well, it wasn't that perfect." So when she's in this Christmas village, not only is Christmas perfect, but everybody in her life is acting the way she thinks they should act. And whether it's her boss, who all of a sudden is paying attention to her and is this love interest, there's whether it's her parents getting along, her best friend who's really snarky is all of a sudden like super nice. And she starts to realize that she misses them for who they really are and this sort of perfect world. So it's not just, I think that adds like another layer. It's not just, oh, perfect Christmas. It's like literally learning to accept the people in her life for who they are and for their flaws and everything. And so by the end, when she decides to go back, it's really meaningful. And the fact that Brandon, her BFF, that's obviously in love with her, that she's obviously in love with as well, is the only one who doesn't change in the Christmas village, right? Because he's already, her perfect match, right? So that's very good, very good. And I think it's so funny, like when he comes back and tries to interrupt one of the dates, and like the three of them are sitting in the carriage, and it's like, that was a really funny scene. I love when she gets upset at the gingerbread girl. She's like, that makes me laugh. That's hilarious. I love the whole gimmick of them making a Christmas sweater every day, and when she's like spiraling, she's like, it's all black, and I think that's really funny. I just laughed throughout this whole film, and this is one of my favorites of all of the like TV movie holiday films that I've reviewed for Hallmark's podcast. Just because I think it has real heart, it has something to say, it's really funny, and yeah, I just really like it. But yeah, what did you think of the sweater? Did you think that was funny?
Yeah, that was quite good. Yes.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's one of my favorite parts.
Yeah, the theme of I love the theme. Like I said, it's it really is strong. Like I personally have never had a perfect Christmas, and that's fine with me. Like I remember one Christmas where I was sicker, even worse than I am now, and I had to perform a solo at my midnight mass. I did it, thank God, but it was like so
Yeah.
it's okay.
Yeah, I've had certainly my rough Christmases, and in the end, when she ends up having everyone bring something to the Christmas dinner at the end, and it's just a great way of showing that she has accepted them all for who they are, and then things don't have to be perfect. It's really good. I mean, some of you can make nitpicks about like some of the acting and things like that. Maybe isn't the greatest, but I think it's serviceable. It works, and I like Caitlin Thompson as Darcy. I think that she does a good job in the lead.
Yeah, I thought she was really good as well. My favorite actor of the bunch was the dude who played Brandon.
Yeah,
Like I liked their relationship, and I was wrapped up more in it than I was expecting, to be honest.
and it was filmed in Ireland.
It looked like it.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm. I actually got to interview James Henry Thomas, who played Brandon, and Robbie Silverman, who played Tom, that year because I liked the movie so much. And so I'm going to link down if people want to watch that interview. It was pretty fun. But yeah, if you listen to Hallmarky's podcast in 2018, people got really sick of me talking about this movie because I thought it was so good. Because it made me laugh. Especially, like I said, when she yells at the little girl. I don't really understand what the like pageant is. Like what is she being coordinated with at the end before she runs away? They're making her like queen of the town or what? What is that? What is happening? But
yeah, that was a little weird to me too.
But that's all right. So what would you give a 1 to 10?
I'll give this one an 8 as well. I thought this was a lot of fun.
Yeah. It's if you haven't seen it, people should really check it out. It's on Hoopla, right?
Yes.
Yeah. Okay, so the last movie that I gave you is called Faces Places, and this is a documentary, and it is the great Agnes Varda, who was a legend, documentaries and features, and she goes around with this guy named JR, who's this artist, and they install these murals all over. And usually like installation art, I am not a fan of. It's like very obnoxious to me. But these were so positive and made the people so happy. Like, because usually installation art is very like kind of grotesque and vulgar. And this was just so it made them so happy, everyone who got a mural. And I loved their relationship between the two of them. They're such an unlikely couple that I really liked them together, and just her talking about her life. And I thought it was so charming, this movie. What do you think of it?
I really dug it. Yeah. Banksy, this art was not, and thank God.
Right.
And I loved how the art was connected to every place they went in some form or fashion. Like one of the early ones was related to this strip of homes that was all but abandoned, and there was one woman left. And so they made murals representing the one woman left, and her reaction to it was just beautiful.
Yeah. Yeah, I liked the one they did like in the factory.
Yeah.
Oh, that one was really good. And I don't know, they're all so good. And I really liked that whole how they worked that whole van to be able to print out these panels and everything. And I really liked their whole relationship. I just thought it was so heartwarming. And you don't normally see sort of an older woman and a younger man, and it's just like a really sweet platonic friendship that they have.
Yeah, there's a great scene where they're going up these stairs and JR gets to the top and he's like, "Are you coming?" She's like, "I've had my exercise for the week."
Yeah. Yeah, they're really cute together. They're very funny. And Agnes Varda's just the best. She was she seems so sweet. And I think one year where she got nominated, I'm not sure if it was this year, it might have been this year, I can't remember, but anyway, she sent like a cardboard cutout of her to the Oscars because she couldn't travel because she was too old. But and she just seems really funny like that. Very and she was married to Jacques Demy, who, if you've heard of The Umbrellas of Cherbourg, he's the director
Oh, yeah,
of that.
heard of
Yeah.
it.
So it was a power couple if you've ever seen it, that's for sure.
Yeah, and JR never takes off his sunglasses until this one final moment. It's like we never see his eyes. Maybe that's like a style thing, I guess.
Yeah, that's true. That's a good point. And so, yeah, if people haven't seen this movie, if you think that documentaries are pretentious, this one is so charming. I couldn't believe that it got beat by the I think it was this movie about drug testing at the Olympics. Like, are you kidding me?
Yeah, like we need another one of those.
I mean, I'm sure it's a worthwhile film, but come on.
Yeah, and I'm not saying that that's not an important thing to talk about because it is, but it's like priorities, Oscars. Come on.
Yeah. So very good. I'm glad you liked it. What would you give Faces Places?
At 8.5. I really did like this.
Yay! Well, very good. I'm glad that you enjoyed all of my picks. It'd be okay if you didn't. That would be fine.
No. If I didn't, I would let you know.
Yeah. So let us know if you're listening what you think of these 5 films, if they're ones you enjoy. Would love to hear your thoughts in the comments section. And Ryan, where can people find you?
Let me see if I can get through this without coughing. You can find me on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, and Letterboxd at RyanCam20. And there is, of course, my YouTube channel, which is just called Ryan Cam. I'll be trying to review Reminiscence this weekend, as well as getting my first reaction to The Secret Life, or The Secret World. Is it Secret Life or World of Arietti?
Oh, Secret World.
There you go. The Secret World of Arietti. That'll be on Sunday. So if you haven't checked me out, please do.
Cool. Yeah, that'll be great. And you can find me at Rachel's Reviews, all over social media, iTunes, YouTube, and on Rotten Tomatoes. I just posted last night my review of Reminiscence that I did along with Lee from Drum Dums. We both posted our reviews at the same time, so that was really fun to get to do. And next week, I'm very excited. I've been working really hard on my my animated Oscars video for 1999. Where I predict what would have been the nominations that year. I had to watch 18 movies in order to be ready to do this video. I worked really hard on it. So that's next Wednesday is coming, and I'm really proud of it. I'm excited about it. And it's a very difficult year to decide what would be, because it's a stacked year. 1999 is really good.
Yeah, Iron Giant, great too. Those are just the ones I know.
Yeah, Iron Giant, Toy Story 2, Princess Mononoke, and Tarzan all in one year.
Wow.
It's tough. It's very tough. So, yeah. So make sure you check that out. So please like this video. Please subscribe to the channel. We sure appreciate that so much. If you're listening on iTunes, please leave your ratings and reviews. We appreciate that so much. We also have the patron group, and we're having our next watch along tomorrow. We're watching The Birthday Witch, which is one of the best Hallmark movies they've ever done. It's really good. And we're having Julie Sherman Wolfe, who is the writer of The Birthday Witch, on for the watch along. It's going to be super fun tomorrow. You can still sign up. It's only $2 to sign up. So check that out. We would sure appreciate it. And then we also have the merch store, which has hashtag Animation Junkie shirts. So take a look over there. I'd sure appreciate it. And yeah, thanks so much for watching my picks, Ryan.
Oh, thank you. Now it's my turn.
Yeah, I know. All right. Bye, everyone.
Bye.